How's it going, guys and gals? Welcome back to another video. As you can tell, I'm really tired because I've recorded this intro like 30 times. I just moved to a new house, so it's just been a lot. Anyways, we're going to get right into it. This is an Iceberg. We haven't done one in almost 2 years. It's about time. I also want an algorithm pleaser, so YouTube, fingers crossed. Let's just rub our hands together and hope. All right. Anyways, this is the Lost FPS games Iceberg. Or rather, Lost first and third person shooter games Iceberg. Yes, sir. The red would be lost, blue is found, yellow is partially lost, the green is partially found, orange's existence unconfirmed, and then purple just doesn't exist. If you don't know the color code, you don't know the color code. Just keep that in mind. It's important context because I'm not going to bother to go too much into certain segments to save time. Sit back, relax, close your eyes, eat some popcorn, and be good people. Thank you so much. Like if you like the video, dislike if you dislike it. Tell me why you did. Anyways, let's get to it. Oh, excuse my allergies. Tip of the iceberg, here we go. Doom FMV scenes and original work of the 3DO port. The 3DO port of Doom is widely mocked for being one of the worst versions ever made, but it had something cinematic. Developer Rebecca Heinemann revealed that she planned to include full motion video cutscenes. If you don't know what FMV video games are, it's those video games that just have like real cutscenes, like people, live action. It's the bizarre 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and actually there's a lot of great FMV games nowadays. I actually have one on Steam I want to talk about, but another time. But yeah, there's a lot of very bizarre FMV games, which is full motion video cutscenes, which is something that no other version had. So it would have been unique to this version of Doom, and it would have been so bizarre. Sadly, though, these FMVs were scrapped when development was rushed to meet deadlines, so as of today, they've never surfaced, and there's nothing to it, sadly. But it's still fun, if you know what I mean. More Doom. So much Doom. The Lost Doom prototype for Sega Saturn. Another Doom casualty, this time on the Sega Saturn. Early in development, there was a version that reportedly ran far smoother using an engine called Boom. But id Software made the bizarre choice to switch to a less optimized build at the last minute. That original prototype never released. Lost in code, maybe forever. What a weird choice. Doom 4. Again. Before the Demon Slaying reboot in 2016, there was a radically different Doom 4. Think war-torn cities, scripted sequences, and military realism. And it was even nicknamed Call of Doom, a gritty, story-heavy version fans never got. A few cinematic clips leaked, but the full build was gone forever. Halo Combat Evolved. Halo wasn't always an Xbox juggernaut. Early builds show a third-person shooter running on Mac and even the Sega Dreamcast. Even the Sega Dreamcast. Sorry. While concept art and tech demos exist, no full Dreamcast build has ever been released, and some argue it was never compiled. Others claim Bungie has it buried in their archives, but who's to say Bungie has anything related to Halo in 2025 when Destiny 2 is so dog shit? Left 4 Dead 2, the Cabin in the Woods crossover. Valve was set to release a crossover event for Left 4 Dead 2 based on the Cabin in the Woods horror film, which is a really solid movie, by the way. It was allegedly finished but never released due to MGM's bankruptcy and licensing issues. Only a few interviews and rumors confirm it ever existed, and no files, footage, just pure silence. But that's not to say it never existed or, was ambiguous, because it was planned. It's more just because Valve doesn't like to talk about anything that goes on in that building ever. You'll never, ever know anything. So, with all the lost media out of the way, not out of the way, but for this first tier, it's good to know that this next one is still partially found, so I can show some good reference photos or something of some sort. That is the Team Fortress 2 original builds, lost builds somewhat. Team Fortress 2 is known for its cartoon art style, but that wasn't always the plan, because in the early 2000s it was pitched as a hyper-realistic military simulator. It featured squad tactics, gritty warfare, and some of that footage remains from old Valve expos, but most of it, including the working builds, have vanished. More than likely have been fully deleted because Valve just does not seem necessary. They're just not that kind of company. Half-Life for the Dreamcast. Oh boy, this one's interesting. The Dreamcast version of Half-Life was nearly complete, featuring new models and the debut of the Blue Shift campaign, but the project was pulled at the last second. The physical discs were never released. Thankfully, leaked ISOs exist today, but they are glitchy, unstable, and missing final assets. Well, that was just the surface, because this iceberg does crack down even deeper. It gets a little weirder. And let me tell you, what? Never mind, let's go down. All right, we are just below the surface of this iceberg now. Call of Duty Vietnam, one of my favorite lost FPS games ever, by the way, it just other than the Rome one they were gonna do. Back in the early 2000s, Activision greenlit a project codenamed Call of Duty Vietnam, developed by Spark Unlimited. It was meant to be a gritty, jungle-set spin-off. Internal disagreements and missed deadlines led to it being scrapped before it ever got past pre-alpha. Some concept art and animations were leaked, but the full game still MIA. So tragic, purely because of the fact that during that era of COD, this game would have been epic. I know we got, I believe Black Ops was in Nam, but this game would have been dope because Black Ops is a different story. A game fully centered in Nam would have been epic. But you know, it's been like since I was like, it's been years since I played BO1. Maybe it is pretty good for a Nam game. I don't know. The Rome one was sad though. That was when COD could have been unique. More Doom. Doom Absolution. Doom Absolution was a canceled expansion pack and sequel to Doom 64, which is a goated, funny game on this Nintendo 64, just because with the controller and all. But man, I had a chance to play that a while back, and I'll tell you, that thing, it's weird. It is weird and cursed, but it's so goated at the same time. It's weird. It featured new weapons, enemies, and levels, and was in development by Midway. Some of its content would later be reworked into the unofficial mod Absolution TC, but the original Midway files are lost to time. Duke Nukem Forever, the original builds. We all know Duke Nukem Forever. It was stuck in development hell for over a decade. But what most don't know is that multiple complete but unreleased builds existed, especially the 2001 version, which fans argue is far more polished than the version we got in 2011. Some footage was leaked in 2022, but many early iterations remained lost. Duke Nukem Forever. What a cursed era. Duke Nukem died with that game, man. Oh, excuse me, with that game. Let's be honest. But anyways, that classic Duke Nukem. No, I'm yapping. Sorry, let's cut that out. GoldenEye 007 Xbox Live Arcade Remaster. This one is funny, and I'll explain why in a moment. But let's just get on with the segment real quick because, yeah, GoldenEye 007 Xbox Live Arcade Remaster. Rare secretly developed a full HD remaster of GoldenEye 007 for the Xbox Live Arcade in 2007. If you remember that, you're the GOAT. It was ready to launch, but Nintendo refused to approve it due to licensing disputes, which is where the funny part comes in. The entire remaster sat in limbo for over a decade. A full playable build eventually leaked in 2021, but for years it was considered the holy grail of lost FPS ports. It is a little bit ironic considering the fact that we eventually did get certain builds of 007, not a remaster by any means, but now I can play 007 on the go on N64 Classic on my Switch 2 now, I guess, because I don't have a Switch 1 anymore because I got a Switch 2, but it would have been cool to see that, but it is a grail when it comes to this genre of lost media and all that. Aliens Colonial Marines PS2 build. Before the infamous 2013 release, Aliens Colonial Marines was in development as a completely different game for the PS2. It had different mechanics, enemies, and design goals. Gearbox was not even involved. This version was quietly cancelled after being demoed behind closed doors at E3 2001. Aside from a few screenshots, it is completely vanished. I have to tell you, by the way, I own that game, and what's funny is it won't leave my life. I literally tried to give it to my friend. It's just the Xbox 360 disc of that game. I've had it since I was a fucking child. All right, and it was fun back in the day. But now I'm older. I'm like, yeah, this game sucks dick. And all I can tell you is it's still with me even after moving. I still have the goddamn disc. I don't own any other 360 games anymore except for that. And it's so bad. Splatoon early build. Nintendo did always plan Splatoon as a cute squid shooter. Early prototypes are based around tofu blocks shooting ink, a bizarre internal testbed Nintendo used to perfect its mechanics. Developers have shown a few images, but no actual footage or code from these alphas has ever leaked. In my personal opinion, Splatoon is one of those franchises that are cool for who likes them, but I kind of just checked out after Splatoon 2's Octo expansion. Once 3 became a thing, I realized I just wasn't into Nintendo's Call of Duty, because that's what it is to me. But when you look at this Splatoon 2 like development stuff, it's pretty dope. All right, if I recall correctly, in Iceberg terminology, we should be in the mid depths now. So this one's gonna be friggin' weird. Halo DS. Yes, Halo was once in development for the Nintendo DS. In 2007, IGN played a working demo featuring dual wielding, coveted enemies, and full touch controls, but it wasn't made by Bungie. It was a pitch by a third-party studio trying to impress Microsoft. The game never got past prototype, but the ROM has also not surfaced. So, rip, because I want to see that. I want to see that so bad. That is so weird. Jurassic Park Survival. This was Jurassic Park meets Resident Evil 4, a third-person shooter for the PlayStation 2 where you play as a security officer surviving on a dinosaur-infested island. A full trailer debuted at E3 2001, but internal layoffs at Savage Entertainment killed it before completion. Only pre-rendered cutscenes and trailers remain. Which is sad, because Jurassic Park does not have many good games. Evolution's alright, but we're looking for like a scary JP game, if you know what I'm saying. Star Wars 1313. This one's legendary. If you don't know this one, you're living under a rock and you just don't know what you're talking about. This is just the most legendary out of this whole iceberg, in my opinion. Once considered one of the most promising Star Wars games ever made, 1313 would have started a young Boba Fett navigating Coruscant's underworld. It was pitched as Uncharted meets Star Wars. Sadly, the Disney acquisition of LucasArts led to its sudden cancellation. Some gameplay footage exists, but the full builds have never been leaked. Now, I will say one thing, though. A lot of people, I don't know why, but 1313 came back up for discussion, and maybe people were like, oh, it's happening. Obviously, it's not happening or whatever, but man, this was like the best Star Wars game of all time. Like honestly, like I don't want to make this whole video about 1313, but I'm just saying it right now. Star Wars 1313, like this was the best, like could have been the best Star Wars game of all time. It looked amazing. All right, now I'm pretty sure this is lower mid depths, but correct me if I'm wrong if it isn't. But let's just keep going. City of the Dead. Romero fans may remember this one. A zombie FPS co-developed by George A. Romero and Hip Interactive. It was meant to feature brutal violence, celebrity voice actors, and a story set in a decaying undead city. After Hip Interactive went bankrupt in 2005, the game disappeared. No builds, no demo, no return. Red Steel 2, early version. Red Steel 2 eventually released on the Wii with the cel-shaded art style and motion combat, but early prototypes used realistic graphics in a completely different setting. Ubisoft scrapped this version mid-development, opting for a more stylized direction. That original build was never seen outside internal meetings. Well, we could just say the whole thing, I guess. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, Blackthorn deleted airplane level. This one's obscure. In Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, Blackthorn, a mission involving a hijacked airplane was planned, but later removed after 9/11 due to its sensitive nature. It's been confirmed by developers, but no screenshots, design docs, or files ever surfaced. Some fans claim it was nearly impossible. All right, I would say we could definitely confirm we're in the deep layers of the iceberg. And I'll tell you right now, this section, in my opinion, gets just more exciting. Anyways, Combat 3. You've probably already heard of Combat for the Atari 2600, a two-player tank and plane shooter. What's lesser known as Combat 3, a bizarre fan-made or unofficial FPS that circulated in obscure corners of the web during the early 2010s. It appeared to be a janky, browser-based war shooter often confused with Combat Arms. Some people even remember playing it, but no working version is online anymore, and all links lead to dead ends.
Hey guys and gals, I'm coming in here on post just to say that I made a mistake. Get Your Free TVs was not what I thought it was after doing more research, so this section kind of got messed up. But to summarize, basically it was just a tech demo for Half-Life 2. You can look into it, but I really messed up on this part of Iceberg and I don't want to come back and fix it. So
Velvet Dark, a code name and a legend in Perfect Dark fandom. Velvet Dark was allegedly an early concept sequel to the original game, named after Joanna Dark's sister. It was supposedly an edgier, darker take on the world of Perfect Dark, and planned as a more grounded espionage shooter for GameCube or early Xbox. Nothing was ever officially announced, but leaked emails and dev portfolios mentioned the title. Whether it was a full project or a scrap pitch remains unknown. This is where things can get haunted. Many of these games were barely real to begin with, discussed in fragments, referenced in passing, and then deleted. If you find anything about them, it's usually a single poster, nothing at all. Attack of the Killer Rabbids from Outer Space. This rumored Ubisoft project was supposedly pitched around the time Raving Rabbids exploded in popularity, but this wasn't a party game. It was allegedly a satirical FPS where you fought rabbids in a bizarre alien invasion. No footage, no prototypes, only vague references on now deleted forums. Even devs who worked on the franchise have dodged the question. Forever Hood, a surreal and haunting Doom 2 mod that began in the early 2000s. It was episodic, experimental, and atmospheric, closer to an art game than a shooter. While parts of it were released, the full narrative was never finished. The lead creator disappeared from the modding scene, and most mirrors of the mod are long gone. What remains feels incomplete. Cutie the Kitten. Yeah, this one's bizarre. Supposedly a lost indie FPS game that mixed Doom mechanics with over-the-top kawaii imagery. According to a few posts on ancient message boards, the game eventually shifted into horror midway, featuring unsettling animations and corrupted assets. Some claim to remember a demo CD at conventions, others say it was a hoax. Airborne Ranger, Lost FPS remake. Airborne Ranger was a tactical military game by Microprose in the late 80s, but in the early 2000s, rumor began that a first-person reboot was in development for PC and Xbox. Developers have hinted it existed, but no files, no screenshots, and no build have ever leaked. Even the studio's archives don't mention it. Either it's buried deep, or it never truly began. All these games live in digital purgatory, part myth, part memory. Maybe they were real, maybe they were just really convincing lies, but either way, they're all gone. This tier is now beyond the bottom. We're no longer in iceberg territory. Games that might have existed, games that leave no trace, games that were deliberately erased or never finished in the first place. Doom Episode 5. In the original Doom, there were 3 episodes. Ultimate Doom later added a 4th, but some old interviews and internal rumors hinted at an episode 5, one that never saw the light of day. Some say it was meant for a different game. Others believe it merged into Doom 2. There's no official acknowledgement, but the myth persists. Team Fortress Classic Lost Alphas. Team Fortress Classic lives on in community servers, but earlier builds, especially Quake-based live versions, contain different classes, UIs, and physics. Many of these alphas are passed around informally with no proper vision control. Most of those files are gone. Even Valve has admitted they no longer have full backups of some of the pre-release codes. Sorry for the stutter there. Here we go. So, wow, we're finally at the end of this chart. And let me tell you, it is probably something you know or you don't. Now, first thing in this, you all know, it's so famous. But the second thing, not everyone will know. And if you do, then man, I live under a rock. This final layer crosses into dangerous territory. Games that are likely fake, mods that are urban legends, and content so controversial or obscure that even acknowledging them feels risky. Yet the morbid curiosity in me feels the need to want to find them. Eric Harris, Doom 2 WADs. Eric Harris, the Columbine shooter, was deeply involved in Doom modding. His custom WAD circulated before the attack. Afterward, most were seized by the FBI. While some versions remain, it's widely believed a large number were wiped, possibly to suppress their influence. The ones we do have range from ordinary to deeply unsettling. Others may have mirrored his plans, but they're lost forever. Sex Station 7. This one's likely a myth, but one that won't die. Supposedly an erotic FPS set on a space brothel, Sex Station 7 was described as a shooter that becomes a psychological horror. It's been cited in dead Usenet threads and shady gaming forums, but there's no footage, credits, no build, nothing. Could have been an inside joke, an abandoned project, or a game too messed up to release. Some of these games were never meant to be played, and some never existed. But the idea that they could have is what makes this tier the darkest of all. Thank you so much for watching this Iceberg video. I got a lot of icebergs coming up. I just thought it'd be fun, and it's been almost 2 years. Anyways, I don't got much to say. YouTube, bless me, and be good people. I hope that the research I made and everything I did is good enough. Again, like if you liked the video, dislike if you don't like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, tell me why you didn't like the video, and say cookies if you made it this far. No, wait, let's change it. Say popcorn if you made it this far. What's your favorite type of popcorn? Do you eat popcorn at the movies? Like, what do you do in your pastime when you're watching these videos? Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and be good people.